Yo, 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 what is up? That's right, WWPWW. Only podcast that's been down since day one-ish. That's right.
That's right.
Man, the Usos, they are infectious. Those guys are so cool. They weren't even, like, on the show this week, I don't think.
No.
But still, their presence was felt and missed.
They were talked about a bit.
They were talked about getting a fatal four-way tag team match, which, anyways, we're getting ahead of ourselves.
Yeah.
All right, everybody, we are 12 days away from Clash of Champions pay-per-view, as the French will say. We're goofy today. My computer needed to boot up, so we're sitting here for almost a whole hour.
I think it was a whole hour.
Really?
Yeah, I think we've been here for a whole hour, just kind of sitting and talking and chilling and whatnot.
Stupid Windows 10 update. Thanks a lot, Bill Gates. Come at me, bro. Calling you out, Bill Gates.
That's right.
This summer, Atlantic City. Shout out to Chris Farley. Stuff to get to, just weekly recaps, and then next week, obviously, we'll be talking about doing our predictions for the Clash of Champions and stuff. But, just a little piece of news. The Rock, Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson, is getting a star on the Hollywood Walk of Fame. I think in a couple weeks, I think. That's pretty awesome. Really well deserved. Dude's one of the biggest movie stars in the world nowadays. Probably one of, if not the greatest showman in WWE history, maybe even probably wrestling history. Like, just few are as good or better on the mic, and at that box office draw. So obviously, being a movie star was going to be in his future one way or another. And so that's really cool. Just love to see good old Rocky Johnson Jr. Getting star on the Walk of Fame. That's pretty key.
Mm-hmm.
It is. And now we're going to bring you two special news segments. Jeremy with Fantasy Booking and I with Wrestle Confessions. So now, Jeremy, I have Wrestle Confessions.
Okay.
Number one, and yes, I do know that this sort of is inadvertently stealing from Midnight Confessions with Stephen Colbert. I was kind of thinking, like, man, those are so funny. Maybe I can kind of do something like that with wrestling. But obviously, it goes without saying, I miss Chris Jericho. That's one confession. I miss Chris Jericho. Hopefully, he will come back to WWE. I'm sure he will at some point, but I miss Chris Jericho. That's number one. I think that's something a lot of people could get on board with. And then another one that I feel bad about. Honestly, I don't know how you'll feel, but honestly, I don't miss Big Cass. Isn't that weird?
I don't think it's weird,
because
I think when they split them up, he's not very good on the mic, and I did not like the heel turn. So yeah. I totally 100% agree with you.
It was all so stupid. Like, just keep them together forever. Like, why do we need to do this? Like Enzo's fine, I think. In the long run, he's fine.
Yeah.
But I mean, Cash just isn't as good on the mic. In the ring, he's okay, but he's, not like super. It's just just the heel turn and the split up was just completely ill advised, and so. Yeah, I feel kind of bad about that because I'm just like, as a team they were great, but split apart. Enzo is has more to offer just because of how great he is on the mic and his persona. Mm-hmm. Whereas what's Cass's gimmick? It's like, oh, he's a
big guy,
a New York guy who's big. Like, that's all it is. So it's I kind of felt bad. I was like, man, I just remembered Big Cass is hurt. Like, he's not here, and I don't miss him, and I feel kind of bad about that.
I wouldn't. I'm the same way. I think that they probably need to put him on SmackDown and not on Raw. I hate to say that because there's a lot of big guys that can go in the ring. I think he's fine in the ring, but he's not up to Braun Strowman and Roman Reigns right now. Mm-hmm. I think they need to put him on SmackDown and probably put him with his girlfriend.
Yeah,
Carmella. I just think that's the better of the things. But you're absolutely right. Like, Enzo is fine by himself, even though he's got some heat around the world and backstage and whatnot, or at least supposed heat.
Mm-hmm.
He in the long run, since he can talk, since they can make a character around him, since he is a natural born heel, he's gonna be fun.
Yeah, exactly. And then my final wrestling confession. This one is kind of sort of a guilty pleasure type thing, and it's something that I'm just like it's a total Joey moment. It's a total I like it moment. Is yes, I'm totally signing off on the seeming tease out of romance between Nia Jax and Enzo Amore. It gets my stamp of approval. I'm really interested to see where that could go. Very, very interested. Like, I don't know if it'll be sort of like, where she'll be like domineering kind of toward him, and she's like, go in there, don't let him talk to you. Like, go defend your title. He's like, yes, of course, sweetie. Like,
Mm-hmm.
something kind of like that. Like, which could be funny. Um, so yeah, that gets my stamp of approval. All right.
Yeah, I'm definitely interested in seeing where that goes.
Okay, good, good. Well, those are my confessions. Right. Say 10 hail scary sherries and go forth and wrestle no more.
That's funny.
Just thought of that right now. All right, and now, Jeremy, you have some fantasy booking scenarios for us that you would like to post forward. I'm really interested in hearing this. Everybody, please turn your attention. The stick is yours, my friend.
Well, I think for me, the the impending WrestleMania match between Brock Lesnar and Roman Reigns, I feel like things have stalled out and are kind of stale.
Mm-hmm.
And I was thinking about this earlier. I was thinking, what's going to happen to Brock Lesnar after Roman beats him at WrestleMania? I think that's inevitable. That's a no-brainer. And as of right now, we don't know that Brock's going to come back because his contract expires sometime after WrestleMania. So we don't know he's going to come back. So my fantasy booking includes him actually resigning. So what I would do is, obviously at Elimination Chamber, I would have Roman lose the Intercontinental title. I don't really care to who. I would preferably in
the chamber.
In the chamber.
Nice.
I think that would make more sense. They would keep him looking strong. Like, he could just destroy everybody and then somehow lose out. I just think that makes sense for him to lose it there.
It'd be a low blow, then everybody gangs up on him.
Yeah, and because I mean, you could put Samoa Joe, Finn Balor, you can put all these guys in there, and it'll be a fantastic match. Braun Strowman. I mean, I don't really. I love the Intercontinental title. I love Braun Strowman, but he's more of a Universal title looking guy, so I'd rather him go towards that. I'm super high on Elias, and so I would want Elias to win the Intercontinental title.
Interesting.
In the Elimination Chamber. Any which way, Elimination Chamber comes up. Roman loses the Intercontinental title because I don't really want him to go into WrestleMania as a title holder.
Mm-hmm.
Even though I can understand the appeal to that, I don't want that to happen.
Yeah. And
so after that, gets his rematch. Elias wins again. Doesn't really matter how. I think the next step for this next step towards the Brock and Roman feud should happen sometime in Royal Rumble. Something should happen, maybe in the Rumble itself or outside the Rumble or something. Something needs to happen where that is pushed forward. Now, I think Brock should lose the title at a house show.
Huh.
I think in order to make WrestleMania, like, I don't really care about the match right now because I know what's going to happen. They're trying to solidify Roman as the Universal Champion. I think they can do it better. I think they can do a better way of doing that. Have a better way of doing that. Brock loses at a house show to Roman. The next night comes out, I'm the new Universal title. This should happen like 2 weeks or so, maybe 3 weeks. Given enough time to fester each week. The Beast gets angry. The Beast is fuming. Beast destroys local talent. Whatever. You just every week after maybe 4 weeks, whatever, 2 weeks at least, where you just see the Beast just running over everybody. I'm ready for I'm ready for my title back, and so that sets up the WrestleMania for 2 reasons. The reason why I want to do this, because Brock, it would show that he wants the Universal title back. It'll show him as a monster. It'll show him as this huge guy that's going to destroy Roman when he gets in the ring, and also shows Roman as, this is my house, this is my yard, This is my title. You are not going to take it. And so they actually have something to fight for in WrestleMania at WrestleMania. I think that would make for a better match, totally. Um, it would just be fun. It would give the people at the house show. It doesn't really matter where it is. New York, possibly. I can't remember where WrestleMania is this coming year.
New Orleans.
New Orleans. Okay. So either somewhere around New Orleans or New York or wherever. He wins at a house show. It would sell tickets to the house show like immensely. Just get the biggest venue you can have, because I think that would not sell out, but people would buy tickets to go see Roman versus Brock, especially if news broke out. Since people go to the internet and know things ahead of time. If they do that, like I said, Roman wins at a house show, sets up Brock as a monster, sets up Roman as a guy who's going to keep his title, and then WrestleMania, Roman versus Brock. I think that would make for a better match, like I said, and then Roman wins. Next night on Raw, Brock comes out with Paul. Paul starts talking and says, "You know what? We have one more match. We have our
rematch contract
thing. We don't want it.
Huh.
We are done with Raw. We're going to SmackDown.
Oh.
Tomorrow night, we're going to go and we're going to talk to the general manager, Dan O'Brien, and we're going to get a contract for SmackDown." People would start turning into SmackDown. People will want to see AJ Styles again versus Brock. I actually think they probably will end up putting the title back on Jinder for a small amount of time, especially after well, they probably won't do that. Yeah, they probably will, because I think Jinder will probably win in India. That would make sense. Anyway, so I think Jinder will have the title. I think that would make that house show huge for India. I think people will buy those tickets to see Jinder as champion versus Triple H in a title match. Triple H puts Jinder over in his quote unquote home country. Comes home, Brock shows up. Brock beats him, and now Brock for the next year will go through person after person after person, and just for the next year have the title, which is sad because I like AJ as the main guy, but this also gives an opportunity for AJ to go over to Raw. Even though I don't want that to happen, you still have big star power at Brock to bolster tickets. If Brock wants to up his contract, again, this is saying that he ups his contract, he would have to have more house shows. He would have to have more pay-per-views and all that stuff. But Brock moving over to SmackDown, and then AJ after the rematch will move over to Raw, which I think would change that landscape totally. Because also at WrestleMania we'll have the Shinsuke versus AJ, and then change AJ over to Raw. That would make sense too. You give them a couple years. You give him a couple years on Raw, then eventually move Shinsuke over to Raw to have that match at WrestleMania 2 or 3 years from now. And so that's my fantasy booking. I think Roman needs to win the title prior to WrestleMania to give WrestleMania that match a bigger feel. Because as of right now, I don't care about the match because I know what's going to happen. I know that Roman's going to win that match. Even though you still would know Roman wins that match, why not have him win it? Why not have Brock go in there? You know what I mean? And so that's my fantasy booking of the Roman Reigns versus Brock Lesnar match, with Brock going to SmackDown the week or the 2 days after his loss.
Very interesting. Yeah, I like it. Very, very good. Oh, yeah, that's pretty awesome. Like, that's a lot of good stuff in there, man. Like, I'm kind of sitting here just thinking, like, oh man, like, yeah, Brock going back to SmackDown, which he was back in SmackDown. He was on SmackDown back in the day. Maybe like 2003, 4. He was on SmackDown. So yeah, that would be really cool to see him go to SmackDown, because that landscape would change completely.
It would.
More people, I think, would watch it. You're absolutely right. And I think that him being off of Raw would kind of give all those guys more more room front and center, and then but Brock going over to SmackDown would kind of add that prize fight, prestige over there to SmackDown and get more people tuning into SmackDown. I think that would be not as high as on. I'm not as high on AJ going to Raw, but you never know until it happens or you see it happen. Who knows? Because SmackDown is the house that AJ Styles built. Him going to Raw would kind of stink, but at the same time, if we get a proper feud and a trilogy of matches with AJ Styles and Finn Balor, and some more great matches with Roman Reigns and AJ Styles, and get some Seth and AJ, and all Braun versus AJ, all kinds of good stuff could come from that also. So.
Yeah, and I think you can turn AJ heel at that point because when Brock comes over, he can be mad at the management and be like, listen, what's the deal? You bring Brock over, I'm the one who built SmackDown, and then eventually he loses twice, and then it's like, you know what? I'm done. I'm out of here. I'm going over to Raw, and like you said, so many matchups with AJ. Mm-hmm. Even building to AJ versus Roman in the next couple of years, if AJ continues to wrestle for WWE. He says he's not going to retire, but if you're going to retire, you kind of have to say that in order for people to keep watching. But anyway, cool.
Indeed, awesome, good to hear. Fantasy booking can be very, very fun. It's basically fan fiction for wrestling fans. Lots of cool stuff. Lots of cool possibilities could come from so many different of those things that you said. I'm just like, oh, but this, yeah, but that, oh, but that though, So yeah, awesome. Well, all right. Got about go ahead and jump into Monday Night Raw real quick, man, and then we'll jump right over and talk about SmackDown afterwards. So, Jeremy, Monday Night Raw this week. Yay or nay? What was good? What was bad? What did you like? What didn't you like? All that good stuff.
Sure. It was a lot better than last week for me. The main storyline, I really enjoyed. I enjoyed the two storylines. The tag teams trying to win back, the Shield trying to win back the tag team titles, and that whole thing at the end. The whole thing at the end was kind of weird, but okay, I'm okay with it. It wasn't as weird as last week. So,
yeah.
So for me, I didn't hate it. I like my favorite thing about Raw right now is everything intertwining with each other. With the Jason Jordan and Kurt Angle storyline kind of being weird, kind of intertwined with the Shield and Roman Reigns and all this other goodness that's going on, and Samoa Joe kind of being in the mix too. So I like what they're doing with the storyline, the main storyline, just intertwining 2 or 3 main storylines that they're trying to get across. So I really enjoyed that. I know people are kind of hate Jason Jordan. I don't hate him. I know he's kind of not necessarily a one-trick pony. He's got a lot of the same moves he uses over and over and over again, which I'm fine with that. If he has the intensity, if he has he doesn't really have the draw, and I don't think he'll ever have the draw, but he has good matches. I like what he does in the ring, and so for that, I don't understand the hatred towards him. I like the whiny, but dad, come on, Dad. I like that because he does it well, and I can't wait to see where that goes. I mean, there's so many theories that at WrestleMania it'll be Kurt versus Jason, or even Kurt versus Triple H. I don't want to see that. I'd rather see Kurt versus Jason sometime down the road. I like that mechanic that they're trying to build there. So I like that. I liked seeing the Woken Matt Hardy segment, even though he's broken, but not using that name. And so it seems like they've kind of gotten over that hurdle of stuff. So now he's woken, and I don't. At first I hated it, but I don't hate it as much, especially after this last segment where he was doing that shtick that he does as broken Matt Hardy. Now he's woken. He's and it kind of pairs well with Bray. Excuse me, with Bray's character. I hope they continue this feud, and I hope it's not just a one and done type match type.
Yeah, thing. Just to get him to the quote unquote broken Matt Hardy.
Yes.
That it's actually a full on thing.
Yeah. Because it sounds like the rumor is that they're creating the Woken Matt Hardy so he can have his own gimmick. Not that the WWE can keep it, but that he can keep it. And even though Broken Matt Hardy sounds cool, I think if he eventually gets the Broken Matt Hardy, that could be the heel version of Woken Matt.
Yeah.
Because Woken Matt Hardy sounds he's more enlightened.
Yeah.
Quote unquote, instead of broken.
Yeah. Because people who are crazy think that they're enlightened. They think that they see what nobody else sees. So yeah, like it totally makes sense from a psychological standpoint like that.
Mm-hmm.
So I was just kind of like, because when hearing, I am woke, I am now woken Matt Hardy, kind of made me think of, all those woke Bay memes and stuff like that.
Yes.
But at the same time, I'm over that now. Like it was just a couple times I was like, it just reminds me of woke Bay and all those stupid memes. But yeah, I'm completely, that's all done with. Like, I got that out of my system, and so now it's a totally cool thing.
The other thing I really liked is all the wrestling was relatively decent. Even Paige versus Sasha was a good match.
Mm-hmm.
Now, in my opinion, what's the worst part about that is the Absolution team. I don't hate the name as much as some people do, but I don't like this pairing. I like the pairing on SmackDown, especially after this week,
Mm-hmm.
but this pairing is just weird. I do hope that they go towards a women's tag team because I could see Sonya and Mandy team up for a bit. But as far as the way they're doing here, I honestly don't care. I realized I was cool with Paige coming back, but then I realized how much I didn't like her. Like her character is just annoying the snot out of me right now.
Charlotte.
She's just stop saying this is my house. Stop doing all that stuff. Just wrestle. Shut up and wrestle. Because I think she's a decent wrestler. I thought that, like I said, I thought the match was good. Everything else that happened, I didn't really care for. I did kind of like the Alicia Fox thing, even though they beat her up. I like, we're friends, blah blah blah, and then whatever. I'm trying to think of the other stuff that I really enjoyed. The last match was really good. The tag team match was really good. That was just a little weird, but I don't care. I'm fine with them losing or them retaining the Bar retaining the titles. Yeah, I can't think of anything else. What were the good things for you? I think the only bad thing for me was the Absolution stuff.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I'm on board with you a lot on a lot of stuff you just said. Yeah, I agree too. I like the whole interweaving storylines of all the story. It's almost like Sin City in a way. All the storylines are somehow connected one way or another, kind of thing.
Yep.
And yeah, that is really cool to see how it's not just like everybody's just doing their own thing. It's like no, we're cohabitating the same space, and so yeah, it's cool that all these storylines are helping fuel each other. And so yeah, I totally agree with you there. That's a really good point. It is really cool. And yeah, all the stuff with Jason Jordan and Roman and Samoa Joe was really good. I enjoyed all that. Yeah, I think that Roman versus Samoa Joe will be really cool. Because we've never actually seen a whole proper feud with them. They've just had like 2 or 3 matches on TV, and they've exchanged words a couple times, but they've never actually had an actual proper feud. So I think this, I think this will, when they finally pull the trigger and it gets done, which it seems like that is what's happening. That is the next feud for these guys.
Yep. Because that would probably happen at Rumble.
You think that
I would think
two,
so
yeah?
because Roman won't win the Royal Rumble.
Yeah, I don't think he'd be in it. Yeah,
They'll go a different direction for that. I think Royal Rumble because I think that's the next pay-per-view for Raw. Not specific, obviously, but I think that's the next pay-per-view for.
Yeah, I don't think they have one before.
I don't think so either.
So
that would make sense that they would have that blow-off match there.
Yeah, that does. So yeah, that's got me excited because both these guys are great and they're really big names, they're really big stars, and so I think that would be really cool. Yeah, the whole Jason Jordan stuff, I'm getting just a tad annoyed with it just because I want them to find I want to be able to see where they're gonna land with it. I want them to because there's so many different things because it's like Triple H was part of the storyline, okay, but now he's just kind of gone now, and they're probably not going to
Yeah.
address it till he comes back.
Yep.
They're not talking about him at all, like, and so that's kind of got me like, okay, well, it's just like out of sight, out of mind. No, like he's the COO of the company. Like, talk about how he wronged you guys or whatever. So yeah, it's just got me a little annoyed because I want to, because not knowing where they're going to go with it has me worried that they might screw it up. Just a little bit. And yeah, Jason Jordan is good at the whining stuff. I don't hate him as much as everybody else does. I'm just like, I mean, he's doing what he's supposed to be doing.
Yeah, I agree. I agree.
He's not bad. And yeah, he can be, his matches can be a little repetitive, but they're really good matches.
Mhm.
And he does have intensity and stuff. But yeah, so just a little bit of the whole same, like, I thought your knee hurt. Oh no, it's fine. Like, oh no, my knee hurts. Like, just that's kind of getting a little.
It was a little better this week. I don't think there was a whole lot of that whole knee thing outside of the commentator saying stuff about his knee. I could see them where I could see them going if they're doing Kurt versus Triple H. I could see Triple H putting Jason versus Kurt Angle at the Rumble, and then eventually, like, you made us wrestle together, you made us fight each other. Now I'm gonna fight you at WrestleMania.
Yeah,
type
that kind of thing. Yeah.
or whatever the next Raw pay-per-view is. I could see that Jason Jordan versus.
Yeah. So all that stuff was good, and it's got me, just kind of a little things here and there that are kind of like, all right, come on. And then, but yeah, by and large though, that stuff got me really interested and excited. And I liked seeing Roman kind of have not really arrogance, but just kind of have that veteran swagger of just like, yeah, I'm not gonna give you a shot just because you were crying to your daddy. Like, I want Samoa Joe type thing. Like, kind of having that edge that is much needed. And I forgot who it was, but somebody said, am I enjoying seeing Roman Reigns get over at the expense of Jason Jordan? You bet I am. And so that was funny.
Yeah.
And that was kind of funny. Uh, so yeah, that stuff was good. Sorry, I just kind of lost my train of thought for a second. Yeah, the Absolution stuff was a little weird. I didn't get, like, the whole Asuka thing was weird.
That's the second week in a row that they allowed her to back out.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's weird.
It's weird.
I don't know where that's going.
Yeah.
But I am intrigued.
Exactly. Like, I'm just like, all right, what are you guys doing here? Now I just want to keep tuning in to see what this means. Like, and yeah, the pairing, or not really pairing, but the combination of these three is very weird. Like, I think it is cool to give Paige a stable. I do like that. That's cool. But yeah, I just this pairing is just weird. Yeah, SmackDown definitely got the better of that for sure. And yeah, Paige just needs to just quit saying the same stuff over and over and whining. Just be cool.
Yeah, just stop talking.
Yeah, and so yeah, some of that stuff was, but the match with her and Sasha was really good. I enjoyed it. I really, really did.
I thought all the matches on Raw and SmackDown were quite well done.
Yeah, now that you say that, yeah.
I don't think there's any bad moments.
Yeah, no, I don't think so either, man. And oh, darn it. But yeah, as I said, the Nia Jax Enzo thing has me really intrigued and to see what they do with that. I think that would be fun to do, because they really haven't done many romance angles lately besides
Outside
like
the
Alicia
205
Fox.
Live, yeah.
Like, besides the Alicia Fox, switching between Cedric and Noam Dar. Like, besides those, I really can't think of any romance angles that they've done lately.
Mm-hmm.
And so, like, that's the kind of stuff that they did, like, back in Attitude and back during, like, the what was it before PG, Ruthless Aggression era. Like, they did stuff like this all the time, and sometimes it was really stupid, and sometimes it totally did work, because this is soap opera for guys, so you need, you need the romances and the butting heads and stuff like that kind of stuff. So yeah, like, I'm really interested to see where this goes. That's pretty cool. But yeah, the tag team match, that was the main event, right? That was the last one.
I think so.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure it was. It was really, really good. These two teams, holy cow, it's just amazing. Like, yeah, they were just so good, man. Like, they were really good. They did a great job. This match was not boring. I was loving it. I was just like, oh man, this is so cool. Like, yeah, it was a lot of fun to watch. And yeah, the ending was a little weird. It's like, okay, so Samoa Joe's part of the bar now, I guess. Like,
Yeah.
you know, they're just like, you know, all right, well, we got the, you know, they're like, well, I'm Irish and you're Swiss. Why don't we get the Samoan guy from Huntington Beach, California, to join the team? You know, I don't know. Or if I don't know. So it was just a little weird because the intentions were kind of unclear. Like obviously, Samoa Joe did this to get at Roman. He's doing this to indirectly hurt Roman Reigns. You know, the typical mob goes after your family type thing. you know,
Yep.
But it's just like, okay, so is he just like escaping and just like, oh crap, what do I do? Hey, you guys come with me, kind of thing, or is he in cahoots with them and this is like all part of their master plan or something? So it's got me intrigued to see what's going to come from that. But yeah, it was a little weird. And so I just hope this doesn't grow dissension within the Shield and then split them up again.
Yep.
Like we say, it should be an amicable split up. They should be like, the Shield is not dissolving. We're still brothers, but we all have our own things we need to go do.
Yep.
They should do it like that. So that way, you know, a reunion isn't as you know, probably won't be as long to wait. It should be like DX back in like the late 2000s. DX was kind of like that, you know, for you know the Trips and Sean, you know, they wouldn't break up, but they would just stop wrestling as DX. They would just go do their own thing, you know. So yeah, I think that's what I don't think anyways it was to build dissension amongst the group or anything like that, but. So yeah, I'm really interested to see where that goes. It was a good ending. The Cruiserweight Fatal 4-Way match was amazing. And I took to Twitter to sing the praises of Cedric Alexander, and he liked and retweeted my tweet, calling him out. So Cedric Alexander, thank you very much.
He's one.
Keep doing what you're doing, man. You're amazing.
205 Live gets better and better every week. These guys, you want to watch the best wrestling in WWE? Watch 205 Live. Every one of those guys are amazing. You can see the stuff pulled out. It's just amazing to watch it. Grand Metalik, sorry, jumping over into 205 Live territory.
No, it's fine.
It's fine.
It's fine.
But it is Raw, but it isn't.
It's an extension of Raw, basically. Yeah.
205 Live.
It's a satellite campus of Raw,
yeah.
if you will.
It's Grand Metalik versus Tony Nese, and Grand Metalik, he goes over the barricade. I wanted to say both at the same time. He goes over the barricade, and he goes far away, and they're like, "What's going on?" And Tony Nese is out on the outside. He jumps. He starts running, and he jumps, and he does a Hurricane Rana over the barricade onto the floor. Like he jumps. As he's jumping over, he's got his legs around his head. Like he's doing like the Dukes of Hazzard, like flying over the car thing. He goes over, grabs Tony Nese by the head, and just flips him over. One of the coolest spots that I've seen in a while. But every one of those matches, if you want to watch a gold match, every one of those matches are good. So 205 Live, like you said, Cedric Alexander is one of the best wrestlers in the world, and he's kind of underrated among the talent. Maybe not among the talent, but you know what I mean. Like I think people like him, but they should like him more.
Yeah.
They should like 205 Live more because there's so many fun things going on right now. If you want to watch something, that's entertaining, Drew Gulak might be the best thing on 205 Live. Just go watch it for him alone. But the wrestling on there is outstanding. And so, like you said, Cedric and all those guys, amazing matches. Definitely should go check out 205 Live.
Yeah, and I can't wait for Hideo to come up to it.
Hideo's coming up, and there's another guy coming over from what used to be TNA, Impact or whatever it is now. I can't remember his name off the top of my head, but one of those guys that.
Here's my idea, really quick, before we give Raw a letter grade. Got to grade it. So, but before we do, I think they should put the cruiserweights on SmackDown, and they should bring all of the UK guys into the UK division on Raw. They should have a UK division on Raw, you know, or just bring all the UK guys up from NXT onto Raw. Don't say it's a UK division or something like that. Just bring them all up, and then put all the cruiserweights on SmackDown.
It's a possibility. I still contend that 205 Live needs to be taped at wholesale.
Oh yeah.
And I think UK needs to be taped in UK. But both of those,
Yeah.
both those.
Because like they scrapped that whole UK show, right? All the UK guys are just doing NXT.
No, they're using them in NXT. They're still pursuing a show. It's just not all fleshed out yet.
Okay. So it's kind of just in the pipeline still, kind of trying to hash it out.
I'm sure, like in their contract somewhere, they have to be on something so many different times, and so they're using NXT to be that.
Okay.
That's something, and then the bigger stars are putting on Raw.
Because all those UK guys are so stinking good.
They are.
And I want people to see them more. And you know, even though NXT is amazing, like I think putting them on Raw or SmackDown, keep all of them together. Because just, especially like, is it just those four mainly? Just Mustache Mountain and then Bruiserweight and then Mark Andrews.
I think there are more, but
okay,
those are the ones that they're spotting.
Those are like the main guys. So like, you know, keep all of them together on the same show.
Wolfgang's one of those.
Okay. So yeah, he's
amazing too.
That's what I would say. So Raw gets a letter grade. We were gonna grade this thing. What would you give Raw this week?
Like I said before, it was a much better show than last week. So many different things I would give an A. So I'm gonna say it was a B plus.
Okay.
Both shows were really spot on this week, but because they kind of bounced back from their I could care less about last week type thing, and I understand why. It was just kind of a filler show. I mean, there's nothing coming up for Raw until Royal Rumble.
Yeah.
So for right now, this show this past week was a B plus for me. What about you?
All right. Yeah. I think I would just give it a solid B. I can't remember what I gave last week. I think I might have given it a B minus maybe, or maybe a B. I can't remember. But yeah, it was a lot better than last week's. So whatever I said, I don't know. I can't remember exactly what I said about last week's, but this one is better because I know I liked last week's a little better than you. But yeah, I would give it a B. Just full on solid B. It was pretty good. All the stuff, because nothing really wowed me, but like all the matches were good though, and all the storyline stuff has me intrigued, and like everything that we talked about with everything with the Shield, the Bar, Samoa Joe, all that stuff was great, and so that gets major upvotes though. So yeah, B plus for Jeremy, and it gets a high B from me. So yeah, that was Monday Night Raw, folks. Now we move on to Smack-a-Diddly Down Live.
Smacketh down.
Yes, we layeth the smacketh down. We do.
yeah, exactly. So who came up with that? I wonder. All right, Caleb, what were your thoughts about SmackDown this week?
I thought it was very good. I really enjoyed it. SmackDown hardly ever disappoints. SmackDown is the much better of the two. Like we've been saying that for over a year. You know, and yeah, it was really good. Yeah, the women's invasion angle that they're doing there is much better. Ruby Riott is great as the leader. I like her. She's awesome. And Liv Morgan, which I'm pretty sure is just Mandy Rose in disguise. Every so often they look they look a little alike. So every so often it just kind of throws me for a loop. Just depends on the light or the angle she's at or something. I don't know, but. Yeah, and then Liv Morgan, and then the other gal,
Sarah Logan.
Sarah Logan, like yeah, it is like you said, like we talked about last week. They should be called the Misfits, but MISS because they're ladies misfits. Like yeah, and I mean, and they are misfits. They're all very different characters, but yeah, for some reason that works, whereas on Raw it doesn't. So yeah, all that stuff was good. I loved the backstage thing with Daniel Bryan and all the women, and then how he just loses his cool.
Yeah,
that was funny. Yeah, like all that stuff was good. I liked that. What else did I like? Was JJ Styles even on?
They had the video package of him and Jinder.
Yeah, I just now realized AJ Styles wasn't on SmackDown.
No, he wasn't.
I just now realized that, which goes to show you how good SmackDown was that you didn't notice how that AJ Styles wasn't there. No Fashion Files. That was a bummer. That was a bummer this week. But yeah, I liked all the women's division stuff was done really well. I quite enjoyed all that. I don't know why all the main stuff I'm drawing a blank on everything else, but all the main stuff is really all I can remember and really want to talk about.
That's fine. We can talk about
Just everything that happened with the whole saga of Kevin and Sammy and you know as they said said that Randy Orton was his hitman or his destroyer or whatever they said. I can't remember, but yeah, the opening with Kevin and Sammy, or Sammy and Kevin,
it.
whichever you like. The opening was great. I loved
Mm-hmm.
what they were doing. All that stuff in the ring, check, double check, triple check, and then they swapped it around and did it. Yeah, when Kevin started or Sammy started walking around the ring, and he's like, "This is what we call ringside in the biz," and then he goes up on the ramp and is like, "This is not ringside, triple check!" Like
Mm-hmm.
all that stuff was amazing. The whole opening was great. I'm glad that these two guys. I didn't think I would like a heel Sami Zayn as much, but it's been amazing thus far.
Yep.
These two guys together are great. I'm loving every second of it. It's fantastic. Yeah, and then the match with Randy and Sammy was a great way to end the show.
Yep.
Um, I'll hold off talking about the match. Just wanted to bring up and say that I really liked it. Cause we can talk about that because that's usually what we do, especially with SmackDown, is we just wait and talk about the main event at the same time. But yeah, it was a really good show, I thought. I'm blanking on some of the other stuff. I'm sure you'll touch on some of the stuff that I didn't, that for some reason I'm drawing a blank on right now. But yeah, it was really good. Really enjoyed it. And the tag team match that they announced for Clash of Champions, they announced officially would be Shinsuke and Randy versus Kevin and Sammy. So can't wait to see that. I don't, for some reason, the pairing of Randy Orton and Shinsuke Nakamura, it just does it for me. That's just really cool to me. And supposedly, don't know if this is true or not because you can never tell, especially with wrestling news. Supposedly, I guess Randy just like really likes Shinsuke, like personally.
Oh, really?
He just really likes Shinsuke, so he likes working with him a lot. So,
Oh, that's cool.
so like I thought that was kind of neat, and I don't know if like it could be a tale told way out of school or it could be real. You never know,
Mm-hmm.
especially with wrestling news. But that's what I've heard. So supposedly he just really likes Shinsuke, like personally, and so he just really likes working with him a lot as a tag team and in matches and stuff. So
I can see that because Shinsuke seems to be a laid back guy.
mm-hmm.
Dude loves surfing, loves that kind of lifestyle, and so I could see. I mean, Randy Orton's a pretty laid back guy for the most part.
Mm-hmm.
I could see that them getting along
Yeah.
pretty well.
I mean, and yeah, he totally seems game with all that. Like, and their chemistry in the ring as a team is, at the end, all the stuff they did totally worked, and it seems totally real. It seems like organic. So it's like, are these guys really do like each other, or they're just both really good actors? Like, I'm sure there's no hatred between them at all.
Sure.
Like, I have no reason to even think that.
Right.
So, like, if they're not like best friends, they're at least like good work acquaintances or something. But
Mm-hmm.
anyways, doesn't matter. Just but yeah, so yeah, all that stuff was good. But yeah, I really enjoyed it, and all that stuff I really liked. Turn it over to you now, sir.
I think one of my favorite things about the whole SmackDown next pay-per-view, the Clash of Champions, is that they came out this week and said these are the matches, and then for each one of those matches, it's outside of the main event, Jinder versus AJ. They made a stipulation for each one of the other matches. For Charlotte and Natalia, it's now a lumber-Jill match, Jack match.
It's not a women's lumberjack. Yeah. It's a lumber-Jill
Lumber-Jill match, which I think is really fun, really cool. I think a lot of storyline could be gained from that. So I'm alright. I'm alright with that. They made the fatal 3-way tag team match a fatal 4-way, which I think is going to be pretty fun to watch.
Oh, totally.
I can't wait to watch that. And the United States Championship match was supposed to be Rude versus Corbin, but then they threw Ziggler in, which I think that in theory and on paper that made that match going to be one of the better matches of the night. Should make that match one of the better matches of the night.
I agree.
And so it makes me wonder: are they going to do anything with the main event match? Like, are they going to put him in a cage? Are they going to, what are they going to do with that? And so I'm looking forward to seeing if they do anything with that. If not, that's fine. But as far as SmackDown goes, I love the storyline that they're telling, or the story that they're telling with Shane. He's so angry with Kevin and Sammy that he doesn't care what happens to them. He wants them fired. He wants them gone. And so at the end of everything, with him coming to Daniel and saying, "Listen, not only am I going to be the ref in this match, if they lose, they're going to be fired. Not just from SmackDown, but from the entire WWE. You know that's not going to happen.
Mm-hmm.
Like, these guys are not going to be fired from the WWE by a long shot." And so the look on Daniel's face, it's almost as if maybe next week, because next week will be the go home show, right?
Yeah.
Next week, it seems like something's going to happen to where maybe Daniel will be the referee. There was rumors that was going to happen, so I think those rumors are going to be true, because it wouldn't make sense for Shane to be the ref, because he would want them to be gone.
Yeah.
No matter what, he's going to try to get them to be gone. And so I think Daniel will convince Shane somehow that he should be the referee, and I think it'll be
or cut the stipulation.
Or cut the stipulation, which I don't think they will.
Yeah.
I think they're working towards Shane being a heel and something else, but I'm not going to go in there right now. Or for Daniel to follow in Shane's kind of already heelish footsteps and whatnot. But I don't think that's going to happen. So I like that story. I also like Shinsuke and Randy together. I do think that eventually they're going to split these two guys up and turn Randy heel, which would make sense, and I think that would give Shinsuke a good chance to rise in the talent ranking.
Mm-hmm.
I loved that. I liked the backstage segments with the ladies. Those were really fun to watch, even though there were a couple words in their dialogue that were kind of weird. Sarah needs to drop just the country act and just say, "I'm a straight up wild woman."
Mm-hmm.
Just do that. But I like where they're going there. I like what the women match did. I liked everything with that. I'm trying to think what else. Mojo is now an angry possible heel, so that's interesting. The New Day had a match with Rusev and Aiden English, which was interesting.
Mm-hmm.
Which was good. It was a good match. It was interesting that they put over Aiden and Rusev, possibly because they're not going to be winning the match at Clash of Champions, which I'm fine with. I'm trying to think if there was anything else. We got the Bludgeon Brothers again against local, quote unquote, local talent. I don't know who those guys were.
Yeah.
Probably actual local talent. Again, I like the Bludgeon Brothers. I don't like their finishing move. I wish they would figure something else out. Yeah, I guess that's it. Like I said, I like the dynamic between Rude and Corbin and Ziggler. I like the dynamic there. I think
I agree.
That'll be a fun match for me to watch. I really enjoyed that dynamic. Makes me wonder if they're going to have Corbin and Bobby Roode kind of on the same page against Ziggler, which will be interesting. So I'm interested in seeing where that goes. Ziggler comes in and destroys them during their match, which was really fun to watch. Ziggler was pretty good on the mic too.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I think that's it.
I liked his little dig at Corbin, where he's telling them all the stuff he's done. He's like, I'm a 2-time world champ, 5-time Intercontinental champ, and I've held that 3 times,
Mm-hmm.
and I cashed in my Money in the Bank contract, and then he
Mhm.
looks at Corbin successfully. Like, that was great. Like, I love how you could hear everybody in the crowd just ooh.
Mm-hmm.
I love when somebody has a pretty good dig and then the crowd reacts like that. So yeah, that was good stuff. Yeah, that 3-way dynamic between those guys is good. You're absolutely right.
Yeah. So I mean that's I really enjoyed everything for the most part on SmackDown. I think everything that they wanted to get done was accomplished. The wrestling was pretty good.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of the dialogue was pretty good. So I didn't really have anything that I hated. I don't think. Even the AJ not being on it wasn't something to even hate. It was just something. It's nice change of pace to not have your champion on the show every week. But yeah, that was my thoughts on SmackDown. I really enjoyed it.
Yeah, indeed, really good. Okay, so letter grade. What would you give SmackDown Live this week?
I give it a B plus plus. I
Mhm.
do that because Raw was good, but I think SmackDown was better, and so I don't want to give it an A minus because there wasn't anything on it that was like
Oh yeah.
spectacular. But the main event was really good. Um, everybody nailed their parts right. I
Hmm.
thought for the most part.
Yeah. Was there anything about anything in particular that happened in the main event match? Because we kind of skipped over it. I just remember we were saving it for last,
It
and we
was
didn't
just a
talk about.
good match. Those two pair up well together. Oh, the coolest thing, or the biggest thing, in my opinion, was the superplex.
Hmm.
Like it felt like Sammy was up there forever, and then when he fell, it looked like an impact was pretty hard. So I thought the superplex was really well done. Randy loves throwing people on that table. He loves killing people on that table, and so
Yeah,
Sammy got
and
his
it
back.
looks really good too.
Yeah, it
Like it
does.
looks like it hurts. Like so,
Sammy
it's
got his back eaten up by the monitor slash whatever partition
hmm
thing that is. And so, but those are the two things that I really enjoyed during that match. Was there anything that you were like, oh, that was really awesome?
yeah. Just that superplex
Yeah.
yeah, was yeah, it was a really good superplex. Like his dad created the move and he's does it really well. I
Mm-hmm.
mean, it always looks good. It even hurts him, you can tell.
Yeah.
So that's how you know it's good. Like how, he always sits up and he's like like
Mm-hmm.
clenching his teeth and squinting really hard and stuff like that, or he'll be holding his head and stuff like that. And so yeah, I mean yeah, he doesn't really have bad matches that often. Like he does his matches do kind of have a little formula to them, but formula
Mm-hmm.
is not necessarily a bad thing. So I mean that's why Law and Order was on for 21 years because
Yep.
it had a formula that worked. And so yeah, I mean he's really been on a roll like ever since. I feel like even in defeat, Randy Orton still comes away looking pretty good. And he's been on a pretty good roll. I think he hasn't he's been in there putting in work every single week. He's not taking a bunch of time off, not doing stuff like he's putting in a lot of time and stuff. So yeah, he's on a pretty good tear. I feel so. But yeah, anyways, so
So mine was B plus plus.
plus plus. But yeah, I give it a B plus. It was pretty good. Nothing that wowed me, but everything was good. Like nothing really to complain about.
Cool.
So yeah, gets the upvote from both of us. So does SmackDown Live. So this is usually the time where we would go home and stuff, and I would fall into my food coma after eating Taco Bell for lunch. Just a little plug for Taco Bell. This is um, but we gave each other homework assignments a couple weeks ago. We're gonna start doing this every week or every other week or something. We haven't figured it out, but we're gonna give each other a match to watch for the next show, and
Mm-hmm.
then we'll talk about the matches. So I'm gonna go first if that's okay with you
All right. Go ahead.
about the match that you asked me to watch. So yeah, we're gonna do this just any match. Doesn't have to be WWE or WCW or anything. It could be anything. It could be TNA, Ring of Honor, old school NWA. It can be anything. And just watch it and then we'll say what we thought of it and we'll discuss it and talk about it. And so Jeremy, what was the match you asked me to watch?
My brain isn't working.
Oh,
It was the Jumping Bomb Angels
versus
versus
was the Glamour
Glamour Girls,
Yeah,
Gals, or something like that.
yeah.
At
Was Jimmy Hart was their manager?
which I can't remember which year.
Royal Rumble
Royal Rumble,
'88. Yeah,
89,
88.
88.
88. Yeah. So yeah, uh, I was really intrigued by it because I didn't know that they had a women's tag division, and I didn't
Mm-hmm.
know that women's wrestling was that prevalent then. Um, but yeah, so I was really intrigued to watch this match, and it does have me pining for a women's tag team now. They need a women's tag division, I feel, and
I agree.
right now because they have so many awesome women who aren't in the title picture, who need to be doing something.
Yep.
And so I feel like that would be a good time to do it. But yeah, this match for back in '80s WWE, which was known for spectacle and show, wasn't quite known for the great wrestling. Like even though there were great wrestlers like Ricky Steamboat and Randy Savage, um, it was basically known as just for like I say, the spectacle. It was known for its characters. It wasn't
Yep.
known for great in-ring work and stuff like that. Besides the guys I mentioned, and a couple other guys obviously.
Mm-hmm.
But so yeah, usually it was WCW, NWA, and other promotions that were much better, you know. But yeah, this match was really good. Um, uh, there was a couple instances where it was a little clunky and there was like some miscommunication,
Mm.
but pardon me. Jimmy Hart was the Glamour Girls or whatever their name was, Glamour Gals something. He was their manager and he was funny with his megaphone. Like
Mm-hmm.
that was good. And yeah, I'd never heard of either of these tag teams before this, so um, I just the Jumping Bomb Angels. That's just such a weird but really cool
Yep.
tag team name.
It's very Japanese. Like if it was like Japanese words, you'd be like, oh, that's really beautiful. But now it's jumping bomb angels. It's like, what is that?
Yeah, I know it's totally awesome. And so yeah, they were really good. They pulled off some really neat moves. One of them did um, where they like grabbed him by the feet and like when they were in the corner, grabbed him by the feet, pulled him up, and then turned it into a sit out power bomb. That was really cool. They were like,
Which when do you see a sit out power bomb in the 80s?
yeah,
Like hardly ever,
I know.
if at all. And so to see these women pull out moves, you're like, dude, like Cedric Alexander is doing this kind of stuff now
Hmm.
in the 80s. You're like, what? These like time travelers or something? Because it's
Yeah,
just really weird.
yeah. They very much seem like modern.
Hmm.
The Jumping Bomb Angels, like the Glamour Gals were good, but
Yeah.
Jumping Bomb Angels were way better,
Yeah.
and they seemed like very much more modern, like wrestlers, and um, they did. Oh man, I'm trying to think what it was, but I can't. Like I just watched it again, like just rewatched it again to get it more fresh in my mind, and I'm blanking on something that happened on it. Crud, but yeah, it was really good. I really enjoyed it. It was a 2 out of 3 falls match,
Hmm.
which you don't really see that often um, in tag.
Hmm.
We saw one between the Hardy Boys and the Bar, um, you know, earlier in the year, like around the summer. But like besides that, like we haven't seen any for quite a while.
Yep.
I think there was one on TV between Dolph and Rude, maybe.
Hmm.
Um, but yeah, so we don't see that often, so that was really cool to see. Um, but yeah, it was just really, it was a fun match for an older match. I was
Yep.
just like,
Yep.
because some of those older matches in older WWE
Unbearable.
aren't good at all.
No.
Like that's why like when you watch like Bret Hart and Shawn Michaels, you're just like, there was good wrestling, but for some reason they just didn't,
And
push them at the time. They just, thank goodness those guys finally got the spotlight on it because they made WWE fun wrestling,
yeah.
good wrestling also.
And the problem is though you'd have wrestlers who could go in the ring like Steamboat and even like Macho Man for the most part. You had these guys who could go in the ring, but they paired them up with like people who just had signature moves and that's all they had.
Yeah.
For instance, Hogan. And so and so to watch a match like that, it's refreshing to see, hey, there is some what we call modern wrestling in the older wrestling, whereas you watch any other 80s match and it's either hard hitting or a couple moves and the moves are clunky and stuff.
Hmm.
So like when you would put like even Hogan together with Bret Hart or Hogan with anybody, um, just the move sets clashed and it
It
was
was a
jumbled up
mess.
mess. And so, do you have any more of that? Because I feel like that trans
Translates perfectly.
into the match you gave me
Okay.
for me.
So the match I gave Jeremy to watch was Daniel Bryan versus Roman Reigns at Fastlane 2015 to see who would face Brock Lesnar at WrestleMania 31.
Yeah. And so I don't know the storyline, but they did a pretty good job kind of updating. Like both of these guys wanted Brock Lesnar.
Hmm.
Both these guys wanted the title. They wanted more Brock Lesnar. You could tell that at the end of the match. But the reason why I said to kind of translate that whole styles clash thing translates is these two guys have two different styles. And I was going into the match with them thinking like, and I know what Roman versus AJ was.
Hmm.
AJ can make anybody look good in the ring, but he's got a specific style. Daniel Bryan has a specific style. Roman Reigns has a specific style, and a lot of times they clash. One's heavy hitting, one's more technical, and it's basically like putting Bret Hart versus Diesel.
Mm-hmm.
That's essentially what it is.
Yeah.
Even though that match, even though Bret Hart versus Diesel wasn't one of the greatest matches, Bret Hart was the one who carried Diesel through that match. This, however, both these guys are talented, and their styles didn't necessarily clash. They went well together. These two guys are professionals in the ring, and so if anybody, this is one of the matches you can people to take to people who say Roman Reigns can't wrestle. They can take them to this match
Mm-hmm.
and see that he can actually wrestle. It wasn't Daniel Bryan carrying Roman. It was both these guys doing the things that they needed to do in the ring. And for me, it translated into a great match, a match that I would go back and watch. My mind isn't. I can't remember all the good spots on it, but the end was really really good, where Daniel was trying to do his finishing,
The running knee.
the running knee, and because he'd already done it before, at least once before that I remember. And so he was doing that, and then gets caught with a spear, and then Roman wins. That was a great spot. And then at the end, Daniel Bryan going up to Roman and says, "You better kick his butt."
Mm-hmm.
That's pretty much what he said.
Yeah.
That was really good, and he leaves. And so it was a great match, a great setup. Like I said, two clashing styles working well together in the ring. Um, and it was a refreshing match to watch. And for me, I haven't seen a whole lot of Daniel Bryan's matches, it was nice to see someone at the top of his game wrestle someone who's I don't know what year Roman came in. Was it 14,
It was
12?
2012.
12?
It was Survivor Series 2012 is when they came up. Yeah.
So 3 years prior, they came up, and they're all of a sudden they're building Roman into being the biggest face of the company. And so to have those two together, it was a great match to watch. To see, like I said, two clashing styles, two superstars. One really in the making. He had only been in the WWE, or at least the main roster, for 3 years. Daniel Bryan had been in there for a bit longer. Um, it was good. It was a good match, and they were fighting for something.
Mm-hmm.
I think that's the best thing about this match is you can tell they were fighting something. You can tell that both characters were fighting for a chance to fight Brock Lesnar, who was the big deal in the WWE at the time, and still is. But they want that title, both of them, and you could tell in the ring. And so for me, I really really enjoyed it. I liked everything I saw.
Yeah. That's awesome, man. Yeah, like I was trying to think of a good match to give you,
Mm-hmm.
and so it's kind of, you went old school, I went new school and stuff like that, and I'm glad you told me to watch that match because I was like, it made me look back at the past where you're just like, yeah, they had the great characters, like like Hogan was a great character, obviously in ring,
Yep.
but great character, great charisma, and they had all those great characters, but a lot of times those guys just were one trick ponies, or just couldn't do that well. But so this kind of made me see, like, oh, like, and especially women, like,
Mm-hmm.
who in the late 90s and for most of the 2000s were kind of looked at as like, oh, they're just there to be sexy, like they're just there to look good, and stuff like that. It kind of made me look back at a time in wrestling where there's usually a shadow cast over it because of all of the modern stuff, and really appreciate that back then women's wrestling could be taken seriously and was really good.
Mm-hmm.
And some of the commentary was really stupid.
Yeah, you gotta look past that. I can't
Like,
remember
so
who was on
it
commentary.
was Vince and Jesse Ventura.
Okay, Ventura's kind of a
Yeah.
dork at times.
So yeah, some parts of but I didn't really care that much because I was like, this match is pretty good. Like
Mm-hmm.
like I really enjoyed it, and
It was it feels like it should have been today.
it does. Yeah, you're right about that. Like, this almost felt like it could have been, like, instead of the Jumping Bomb Angels, it could have been the Bella Twins. Instead of the Glamour
Yep.
Girls, it could have been Absolution or something. It did. It felt very modern, which was neat. And the match I gave to you, like, I was trying to think, and like, that match honestly is one of my all-time favorites.
Mm.
That one, Dave Meltzer gave it 4.5 out of 5 stars. If it took place in Japan, it would have gotten 5.
Yeah. Yep.
Ba-doom. Dave, we love you, but come on.
Yeah, but seriously.
But anyways, yeah. So he gave it 4.5 stars, and I was just like, I can see why. Like, it is one of my all-time favorite matches, and it is one of those instances of you got Daniel Bryan, an indie darling who is a technical wrestler. He's a technical high flyer basically because he can do some pretty cool high flying stuff. And then you got Roman, who's a brawler, but his his athleticism doesn't just make him a heavy-footed
Yep.
brawler who just punches. You know, he can do lots of really cool stuff. And so yeah, the styles clash, but they also accentuate each other and make
Yep.
each other look good. And it was totally believable that Daniel Bryan would be able to beat him.
Yep.
And
Yes. Yep.
you know, and the storytelling of the match, the pre-video package, the pre-match video package that they did is really cool with it too. And yeah, this is just an instance of like a hidden gem. It's a match that I love, and I do go back and rewatch it every so often. I'll probably go back and rewatch it today.
Yeah.
You know, and it, like I said, it is one of my all-time favorites, and it's one that people need to talk about. And like you said, it's one people need to go back and watch. I'm like, that was almost 3 years ago, that match, and you know, people are still saying that Roman can't wrestle. It's like, go back and watch that one. Like that was, you know, like I said, almost 3 years ago. You know, that match, and you know, he did a great job in that. And then to see how far he's come, it's like, you know, I mean, on Raw he pulled out a couple new moves. He did the you know, that float over DDT, and he did the single leg Boston Crab. Then I think he did one other one that I hadn't seen him do. But so that, you know, that was pretty neat. But yeah, sorry, I'm kind of dominating the conversation here at the end. But you know, I just really like that match a lot, so that's why I wanted to have it be the first one.
Yep, it was
to give you to watch.
Yeah, it was really good. And it's not on a Big Four.
Yeah.
That's the other thing, is it's not on a Big Four. You know, setting up for the WrestleMania match. But yeah, it was a good match. It wasn't anything. I'd be interested in seeing why Meltzer didn't give it a 5-star. I thought the storytelling was pretty good, and there wasn't anything in it that was clunky. That I remember anyway. So I no idea why he didn't give it a 5, because it should have been.
Yeah, and so yeah, that was that was our first homework assignment from WWE High or something. There's an animated show they could do on the network.
Yeah.
WWE High. Where John Cena's like the cool jock that everybody loves, and you know, Randy Orton's like the stoic loner who's.
That's funny.
I don't know what I'm talking about.
It's time for the coma.
Yeah, I think we're kind of getting a little worn out. It's time for our afternoon naps.
Yep.
Well, anyways, yeah, that was our first homework assignments. Both.
Why
good.
did we call this naps and graps?
Naps and
naps and graps. We should have like WWPWW is now going to be called naps and graps, or graps and naps, or something like that. Anyway.
Oh, that is fantastic. Yeah, that's oh man, that's great. That that's what we should call it. Instead of that'll be our 7th inning stretch.
Yeah.
Like nearing the, you know, during the last little bit of the podcast, we'll call this our naps and graps.
That's funny.
Segment. Oh, Jeremy, that is clever. That is fantastic. Oh, and also Monday Night Raw, when Alexa Bliss was on commentary. Did you see that?
Yeah.
No idea why, but the scene where she just turns Michael asked her a question and Corey goes, "Come on," and then Alexa just turns and looks at him and goes, "You are so rude." That killed me. I died laughing at that.
That's funny.
I don't know why. But for some reason, her delivery of it, I don't know what it was. Just for some reason, it absolutely killed me. I died
really
laughing
funny.
at that. You are so rude. Like, and I even tweeted about it just because it just killed me. I died laughing at that. My mom was like, "What are you laughing at?" And I was like, "It's nothing. It was for some reason it was funny. I don't know why. It just killed me."
Just a reminder for you, the people out there who like the movie Psych, it comes on this Thursday. Come out this Thursday on USA Channel. They reminded us that Charlotte was in that movie. Look, I'm interested now to see them. I was interested in the movie before because you and I both like Psych.
Oh yeah.
You probably love Psych more than I do, but I really like it.
Oh yeah, I was there since day one.
That's right. And so she's going to be in it. So Charlotte's going to be in it. So we'll see how.
And it looks like John Cena will have a cameo in it.
Oh, that'd be rad.
Yeah. So that'll be. It seems like they're bringing back a lot of past guest stars from Psych in little cameos for this. So yeah, that's really neat. Can't wait for that. Yeah, forgot about that. Yeah, thanks for bringing that up. Yeah, I'm gonna have to go set that on DVR.
Yep.
Yeah, I can't wait to watch Psych the movie, which it looks like Charlotte's gonna do pretty well in this.
It does.
And you know, really excited to see her first foray into acting and stuff. And it's not in a terrible WWE direct-to-video movie.
That's true. It'd be a USA exclusive right there.
Indeed. Well, that was a good episode. I thought it was a lot of fun.
CC.
Don't know if we're going to do our next homework assignments next week or if we're going to wait and do it another time or what. But
Yeah, I think so. I think I know what I'm going to give you, but I still have to think about it.
Oh yeah, I have a ton that I can just reach in my pocket and take out of that like ones that I love that I'll go back and watch. You know, like I have several of those.
I like the obscure, so I'm going to try to find
an obscure one.
One of these times, I'm going to give you like one of the worst matches I've ever seen to you, which is a lot of the WCW stuff pre-96.
Yeah.
And so we'll see what happens. I think I know the one I'm going to give you, and it's one of my it's now one of my favorite matches I've seen. Kind of a cool concept that I don't think they ever brought back, but it was interesting. So.
Cool, awesome. Well, yeah, I think we might go ahead and have to do that for next week. Yeah. More homework assignments. We'll have to think of something clever to call it instead of just calling it homework. I like the whole like WWE high thing. That was stupid, but it made me laugh. I have to think of something more clever, but oh well. If this just sticks with it, then I guess that'll be it. Well, everybody, that was episode 60 of WWPWW. Yeah, man, crazy. Lots of good stuff on this sode. I thought this is a good podcast this week. Well, everybody, like we said, that was episode 60. We'll see you guys next week for some predictions for Clash of Champions, which is shaping up to look like a pretty good pay-per-view.
Interesting.
Yep.
So yeah, 5 matches. We'll see if they add any more.
Yeah, and hopefully none of them will stink.
Yep, agreed.
That's the biggest thing I usually strive for when watching a pay-per-view these days.
WWE don't suck.
Just like, all right, just don't let it suck. All right, that is the show, everybody. Thanks for stopping by. This is Caleb.
This is Jeremy.
Signing off.
Peace.